What's up, guys? Welcome to the Year Defending podcast. We're here to talk about UFC 315, some fight announcements, and we're going to shortly preview our next week event. But why don't we get into the pay per view that we just had? It was pretty decent. I mean, the main event was fantastic. We have Belal Muhammad defending his welterweight title against Jack Della Maddalena, who was filling in somewhat short notice. This was supposed to be Belal against Shavkat Rakhmonov, but Rakhmonov got injured. And now we had this, and this was a very good fight. I've been seeing some different opinions about this. Some people saying it wasn't that good. Some people saying it was fight of the year so far. I tend to side with the later. I think it was great. It was fantastic fight. So yeah, the question here was can Jack Della Maddalena keep it on the feet? I was very confident that even if he was taken down, he was going to urgently go for scrambles and try to get back up. Let me get the results on screen for those of you that are watching a video. So we'll do a full review of the pay-per-view. There are my predictions. So I predicted Maddalena by decision. I was right. I was expecting him to be one step ahead on the striking. I didn't say on the podcast, but I did expect that the striking was not going to be like a wash, because Belal was going to have the takedown threat, and that can be an equalizer. But I focus most of my preview on Jack Della being a lot more dangerous for Belal if Belal tried to get on his face. As opposed to Leon Edwards. I said that Belal should have to kick more in this bout. I think he kicked more against Leon, but I think he should have kicked more, to be honest. Belal, by the way, has a disgusting body kick. Fantastic strike from him. So hard. You can tell it's crushing the arms when they get blocked. Great strike, great pressure tool as well. But Jack Della here, even better than I expected in some sorts. He wasn't as damaging. He was a lot more calculated, he went for speed and accuracy more than power for most of the time. Didn't go crazy with his combination punching. That is some of his best assets. Instead, he was sticking and moving, using very good defense. Fantastic footwork and head movement used in conjunction. So I'm probably going to do a video about the defense of Jack Della Maddalena in this fight. This was the thing that we can learn the most about, I think, about that topic. But yeah, Jack Della looking great. He was taken down a few times. He was clutch on that fifth round when Belal got very nice takedown, basically from inside the pocket in open space. Jack Della hit the giggler, got a knee elevation. We've seen Jack Slack talk about that a lot, about Mansour Barnawi, I think, against Islam Makhachev. Let me, if I'm not, yeah, I was making sure that I was not confusing the names. But yeah, Barnawi fought Makhachev back in the day, before Makhachev was in the UFC, and he was making him work from bottom position, using some of these looks. So that was interesting. Jack Della obviously had Paul Craig in, and not Paul Craig. We're going to talk about Paul Craig later in the podcast. Craig Jones in his corner. So I was expecting some very good tactics from him, because we saw when Volk had Craig Jones in his corner against Islam, he looked very prepared for the grappling. Belal not shooting a smash here. Some people complaining about that. I think Belal fought a very good fight here. So I'm trusting Belal that he was making the right decisions here. I think during tie-ups, my impression is that Belal felt that Jack Della was stronger than expected, and that the first layer was better than expected. That he was grabbing underhooks, grabbing wrist control, doing something to prevent Belal to get on a good entry. So Belal realized that I cannot shoot irresponsible takedowns against this guy, because he's strong, he's going to shut me down, I'm going to get tired, I might end up on bottom position. So Belal was a bit more calculated with the takedown threats. Belal was doing good stuff with his hands too. He showed the Canelo hands. No, but he was jabbing well when they found themselves in open spaces. I mean, in open stances. I have a cat hair on my tongue. Jesus Christ, man. Okay. Both guys were switching Jack Della a lot more than Belal. He was trying to track the exits, especially when Jack Della exit through Belal's left side. Belal was trying to catch him with a leaping left hook. Belal was trying to do good stuff, man. He was putting together some combinations. He was fighting right hands on Jack here and there. So he fought a very good fight. Then the fifth round, which could have been like the deciding round because we saw that two judges had it like tied going into the fifth. And Belal got that takedown, so it was very clutch that Jack Della could get back to his feet and then get very aggressive, man. Throwing elbows inside the pocket when Belal tried to throw elbows. And then he ended up hurting Belal at one moment, so that sealed the deal for Jack Della. But it was a great fight. I thought Belal looked very good here, established himself even. I mean, we knew he was the champion. Obviously, he's at the top of the division, not to take away from him. But a lot of people were like, oh, but maybe like Leon Edwards is not good anymore. And it was a close fight. We all remember that. So, but here I feel like Belal is a problem for most of the division. For most guys, Belal is trouble, man. Especially, and I don't think that Belal is going to get like it's going downhill from here. I don't think. I think Belal is very mentally strong. In and out the cage. So I think that Belal is going to remain very good and he's going to keep winning a lot of fights, man. And for Jack Della, I'm so happy about this. I don't know, man. It's one of maybe my favorite like current active fighter. Like Dustin is going to retire now. Jack Della has sort of a similar style. They have some differences, but and it's not like he's feeling the void of Dustin. He's like his own thing, and I love Jack Della, man. Being super hype about him for many years. Many of you who listen to the podcast probably know already, but yeah, I was rooting hard for Jack Della, and fantastic to have like such a cool champion, man. My favorite champion right now. Our co-main event saw Valentina Shevchenko fight Manon Fiorot. I was expecting Fiorot to win a decision. I was wrong. Doing tape study, I saw like Valentina is actually pretty strong in the close stance matchup. This was southpaw against southpaw, and especially when she just like uses her footwork or her lead hand to make effective work, and we saw a lot of that here. I was just expecting on Manon to be like too big, too strong, having too much output for old Valentina, who had looked very sketchy on the feet and kind of fragile, especially against Alexa Grasso. We're going to talk about her in a bit. But yeah, Valentina just like working her, especially in the first round, first half of the second round with the jab, with the right hook, countering beautifully with the right hook, setting up spinning attacks with that dynamic. She was trying to get takedowns, but Manon was so strong, man. So big and so strong. If this, I said on my preview though, and I'm not copying here, I'm not, but I said like if this was Prime Valentina, I would pick her like with eyes closed. I felt like this was actually a good matchup for her, but I felt like Manon was going to show up with, even though she's not like super young, she's only 2 years younger than Valentina, but you gotta understand, Valentina has been fighting since she was 13. But yeah, it wasn't the case. Like Manon had some spots where she maximized her advantages, especially grabbing clinches against the fence, landing very big knees to the body. That was very cool by Manon, trying to find some elbows during breaks. But Valentina then was winning like most of the rounds with the jab, with the right hook. He dropped Manon like pretty good at one moment. So it was a very solid performance for Valentina, especially like a late career performance. I insist, like Valentina for me, either you like her style or not, but Valentina is like the GOAT of women's MMA, man. Like ahead of Amanda Nunes for sure, ahead of Joanna. That's my pick personally for women's GOAT. But yeah, good for Valentina, man. It was solid performance. It wasn't the most exciting as you would expect for old Valentina. Like even on her prime, she was capable of having like stinky fights. It wasn't awful. That it was okay. I'm not dying to rewatch it. But yeah, before that we have Ayman Zahavi against Jose Aldo. Aldo showed up overweight, but they are. So I want to clarify because people were saying, "Oh, Jose Aldo like missed weight by 7 pounds." No, they let the UFC know, "Hey, this ain't happening." Zahavi's camp was okay with the move up to featherweight, so they were like Aldo I think was 143 and Zahavi was 142. Getting into the fight, Aldo low output, but very crisp boxing, especially the defense, as has been the common culprit with Aldo in his late career. The hands a bit wonky by Aldo. Like his mechanics, especially his right hand, is not super accurate. He mostly lands it in the hard parts of the head. That's why Jose Aldo punches so hard and he doesn't hurt people like super often. He mostly finds those shots that hurt by accident most of the time because he's not super accurate and the mechanics of his right hand aren't great. So I thought like Aldo worked him like pretty easy on the first round, more volume, better connections. Round 2 was the same, but Zahavi started making some adjustments. Zahavi at the first was trying to move on the outside, stay at like away from Aldo's jabbing range, but then when he tried to close the distance, he was finding Aldo's jab. He was getting countered because he was given the space and time for Aldo to make the reads. So he started making the adjustments of like making it uglier, pushing Aldo's back, grabbing clinches, and then giving him a little bit of optics. But I'll be honest here. I'll be very honest here, and I'm not saying this is an Aldo fan. Like, I like Aldo a lot as a fighter, but I'm not like a fan of him as a person. So if he wins or loses, like it doesn't really affect me. But if we are like judging this fight for what it is, like you gotta like take everything out. You cannot say, oh, but he missed weight or this or that. Like, let's get into the fight. Jose Aldo won second round, very easy, very easily. Like it is like an objectively bad scorecard to give Zahavi second round. Aldo has more volume and better connections. Like, where's the argument? Where's the argument? Like, Aldo stumbling out when he's pushing Zahavi out of the clinch. Like, that's so stupid. And then we get into the third round, and Aldo hurts Zahavi. I don't remember. I think with a right hand or something. He goes nuts trying to get the finish. Like, he goes for flying knees. He goes for a soccer kick where to the head of Zahavi when he was getting up, which was like a legal strike. And then Aldo completely ran out of gas. He was moving well on the outside, but he was not throwing. I called this during the fight companion. I said, like, okay, Aldo is not going to throw one more punch during this fight. That's what Aldo does when he runs out of gas. Then he went for a super bad takedown attempt. And when he got sprawled, he went like voluntarily into his guard, trying to stall the fight. Which, like, if you're completely done, like, not the worst tactic. And Zahavi went to work with elbows from top position, kind of close of stopping the fight just because Aldo was so hurt. But you gotta remember, like, Zahavi got insanely hurt before that. So I still give the round to Zahavi. So it's like very easy to score here. Like 2 rounds for Aldo, 1 round for Zahavi. No 10-8 because Zahavi got hurt. And then the scorecards came and it was like unanimous 29-28 for Zahavi, which is like a disgusting card. I don't care like if he took the fight. I mean, I appreciate that he took the fight or the weight class change in very short notice. That's very respectable. But if you take the fight, you're taking the fight because you think you can win, right? He did not win that fight. Some people were like, on Twitter especially, you gotta understand, like, bettors, everyone likes Zahavi because apparently he was like the underdog. And he's very friendly with guys. He replies on Twitter. He gives out interviews. But you cannot pat yourself on the back for picking him here. Because he didn't win. He didn't win the fight, and you know that. Like round 2 for Zahavi is like you just don't know what you're watching at that point. Like not get another hobby, but stop trying your hand at judging fights. Because like you don't know what the fuck are you watching, man. Get out of here. Aldo apparently retired after the fight. No package, obviously, because Anthony Smith is more important than Aldo. This is not a slight on Anthony Smith. I said on my podcast after that. Like, I'm very glad that Anthony Smith got that like package and send off. I said I wish more fighters got that. I understand that Aldo probably like didn't announce to anyone in the UFC that there was a chance that he was retiring here, so that's probably why they didn't have something ready. But when a fighter is this old, you might want to have something just in case, right? But it is whatever. Aldo retires, I'm okay with it. Like, he's obviously super done. And this was his worst showing yet. Like, he was still good, but he was fighting the worst opposition that he has faced. This is like his worst opponent, like going back to the WEC. Not again, not disrespecting Sahabi. He's a completely fine bantamweight fighter. Like, I'm not saying that he sucks. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying that if you go back, who has Jose Aldo have been fighting? Like, his last fight was Bautista and Martinez. I rate above Sahabi. Both have been ranked in the past. Sahabi's probably getting ranked now, but both guys are like almost the same level of technique in different styles, obviously, but they were like way more athletic than Sahabi is. Then you go before that, and you get like championship level fighters, man. Championship level fighters. Who has Jose Aldo have been fighting in his like career? Marav, Pierre Yan, Marlon Moraes when he was still a good fighter. Then on featherweight, like the Jeremy Stephens that Jose Aldo fought, better fighter than Sahabi, I would say. Moicano. And then Volkanovski, like, this is by far his worst loss. Good for Sahabi to get the decision. I don't think he won though, but he's a legit fighter at 135. He's on a very respectable run. I think that for Sahabi is like a lot more impressive to have a clean win against Basharat than beating this like washed out version of Jose Aldo and actually not winning the fight, just like getting a robbery. So yeah, let's stop the rant about Jose Aldo. It's sad to see him like getting done dirty, like straight up robberies late career into his career, and just wasting the last years of Jose Aldo fighting, like trying to use him to build up like new fighters in the divisions. Like, that's kind of disgusting by the UFC. Just kind of mad about that, because you know, like, outside of us who understand the sport, Aldo is never going to get his flowers as the greatest fighter of all time, which I think he is. And it's like kind of unfair, right? He never had the marketing machine behind him. Everyone talks about Jones, about GSP, and some guys that think that they know what they're talking about. They're including like Mighty Mouse as well, but Aldo is like, for most people, Aldo is like behind Anderson Silva. And Anderson Silva would tell you that Aldo is the best. Because Anderson Silva actually understands the sports, unlike some very good fighters. Looking at you, Dominic Cruz, I'm looking at you, Mighty Mouse, Henry Cejudo, you guys don't know shit. I mean, obviously, those guys know how to fight, right? Obviously, fantastic fighters, all of them, but then you hear them talking about this, but like Cruz can be insightful at times, but his mindset is so limited between what he can do. I think that's the same for Mighty Mouse and Cejudo. Mighty Mouse and Cejudo, like, not as smart as Cruz though. But yeah. Moving on, we had Natalia Silva against Alexa Grasso. I predicted Silva by decision. I thought that the movement was going to be a problem for Grasso. I thought Grasso had some tools. She needed to come prepared to pressure here. But hey, just like Diego Lopez against Volkanovski, just like Irene Aldana against Holly Holm, Lobo fighters cannot pressure with their feet. Like, Grasso was like sidestepping here and there, but then she was like trying to get into position to exchange. The classic Chris Curtis syndrome. And yeah, Natalia Silva just way faster, more output. And Natalia Silva didn't look great here either. The few times that Grasso tried to do something, Grasso was like getting success. I'm not saying that she was winning the exchanges, because Silva was so fast. And I said this on the preview, like, even if they exchange, which is what Grasso likes, like, Natalia Silva still has very quick hands, can still win some of those. But it wasn't Grasso to it was on Grasso to make those happen time and time again and start like making reads, taking advantage of those. But she wasn't able to. Like, Grasso looked very bad here. Looked checked out. Something going on, man, because like 2 very bad performances in a row. Grasso needs to reevaluate some stuff. The opener was Benoit Saint-Denis against Kyle Prepolek. I predicted a submission in round 1. It was round 2. Prepolek is looked decent. He kind of exposed Benoit Saint-Denis looking trash at times here, especially on the feet. But I knew going in that Saint-Denis too big, too physical, too insane for poor Kyle Prepolek. So Prepolek hasn't been fighting like super high level of opposition in the regionals. So this was expected. The opener, the headline of the prelims was Mike Malott against Charles Radke. I predicted Malott submission in round 2. What we had was a knockout in round 2. What made me side with Malott here was that this was like kind of like puncher versus kicker here. But I said that Malott was a lot better as a puncher than Radke was as a kicker, so I felt like Malott was going to keep him at bay with his kicks, his shifting combinations from the outside, and even if Radke go inside, it wasn't like a clear win for him because Malott hits very fucking hard, and we saw exactly that. Malott was winning the fight from the outside, frustrating Radke, and then Radke tries to close in. Malott catching with his own left hook because the left hook it's like kind of like all Charles Radke had, right? But it's Malott who finds the left hook and puts him out, man, like bouncing his head on the floor. Damn, good for Malott, man. Good for Malott, man. He looked good here. I mean, he has some like he looks sketchy at times. I don't think his ceiling is super high. But welterweight, it's not super stacked, so he might get into a ranking position soon. Good for him to get the win in front of the home crowd. Jasmine Jasudavicius for Jessica Andrade. I predicted a Jasudavicius decision. It was not a decision, man. It took her like a little bit more than half a round to submit Jessica Andrade. Fantastic rear naked choke. Got a back body lock, like lift and dropped Andrade, and just got the back and got the submission. Good stuff for Jasudavicius, man. Looking to break into like the higher tiers of the division. I think she has 2 losses in the UFC. One was against Natalia Silva, and that was like kind of long ago. That was on 2022, and she has improved a lot since. And then she lost a very close decision against Tracy Cortez, who has shown to be up there. Like Cortez, like took 2 rounds from Rose Namajunas in a 5-round fight, and has been undefeated otherwise. So, and that was very close. Some people saying you can score that for Jasudavicius. So, yeah, Jasudavicius looked great here. Jessica Andrade, I know that Jessica Andrade is just taking these fights for the paychecks, but just take the fights at 115. Not worth it. To go up to 125 anymore. I know the UFC probably offers you a little bit more maybe when you take fights at 125 because it's like a lot more likely that she's going to lose. So they are using her to build up talent. But yeah. Bukauskas fought Iwo Kutelava. A lot of us were pretty sure that this was going to be fun, that Kutelava was going to bring the chaos, and when you force Bukauskas to fight, he can be a dog. But that wasn't the case because Kutelava tried to fight like a very calculated fight. This was super low output. I got distracted during this. People were saying that this is like insane robbery. But for what I saw, like Bukauskas was having like way less volume, but when he was connecting clean. Kutelava other than leg kicks, and I scored leg kicks obviously, but he was not landing like anything clean on Bukauskas to the head with his punches. And then Bukauskas won the 3rd round like super clean. So if you give any 1 or 2 to Bukauskas, you can like justify the decision. I don't think it was that crazy. But then again, I wasn't like completely focused on the fight because it was pretty boring. Before that, we have Navajo Sterling against Ivan Erslan. Erslan was just like on the first round, just landing like cross counters with the right hand, while Sterling was putting a lot of volume but not getting a lot of clean connections. Then second round, Ersan tried to wrestle, not successful. Sterling kind of wins the scramble, but they get back into their feet. And Ersan again, like landing way cleaner with his punches than what Navajo was doing with the variety. But then in the third round, Navajo like hurts Erslan like super bad, the straight right hand, I think. Erslan gets back up, showed a lot of heart, starts like calling Sterling out. He gets his ass whooped for what he gets exactly what he asked for, but yeah, personally, I scored this one like 28-28 with the first two going for Ivan. They were like super close rounds, so I'm not saying this is a robbery. I knew Sterling was going to get the decision. He had a lot more output. And judges just bad at seeing like what's landing and what is not. So, and again, like you can justify either one or two for Sterling, so this is not robbery by any means. I thought like both guys looked decent, but it's like both guys need like more seasoning in the UFC like heavyweight division before moving into a higher tier. Marc-Andre Barriol fought Bruno Silva. Very short fight. Barriol landed elbows inside the clinch against the fence, and he put Bruno Silva out. It was a super scary knockout. Like he was like not moving for like 2 minutes or more, I think. Then they got him into a stretcher. They took him to the hospital. To give credit to the UFC, they were like giving updates on Bruno Silva's condition. They say that they got scanned and that he was fine. So very glad to hear that, because that looked very bad. Good for Barriol though, which I predicted to win by decision, because I felt like he had more. He was going to have more volume, and I felt like Bruno Silva is like looking like washed, but not completely shot. I thought he still had durability, but that elbow was nasty, man. Was nasty. Let me check some stuff here. Okay. Right. In the predictions, Malot. Yeah. Jessica Vicious I picked by decision. Bukauskas I picked by decision. I was right. I could have been wrong if the fight was scored otherwise. And yeah, Daniel Santos moved up to 145 in somewhat short notice to take on Young Lee. I called this to be a body punching crew scuffle, and it was. This was fucking great, man. This fight was fantastic, man. A bit overshadowed by the main event, but this one was like more action packed even. This was great. Young Lee going nuts with the left hooks to the body. Daniel Santos body kicks, knees to the body side the clinch, shooting for takedowns, and he showed up with the cardio. Like Shuvi Daniel Santos is going for featherweight, man. This was a very, very fun fight. Daniel Santos marked a difference with the takedown attempts, man. Takedown attempts and the cardio was what took Young Lee out in the end, and he started like putting on the pressure when Lee started getting tired and putting himself against the fence with more ease. So fantastic stuff, man. Very good win for Daniel Santos. I'm still high on Young Lee, who sadly is on a 2-fight losing streak right now. And the opener was Beksat Almakan against Brad Katona. Very short fight, inside a minute. Katona changes levels for a takedown, and Alkaman just catches him without an uppercut and puts him out. Katona, 20 fights and never been finished in any way, and Almakan put him like completely out. So there's that. The event, it was a mixed bag. If anything, like we had some great finishes, especially Almakan against Katona. Barriol versus Silva was a sick knockout, even though like it got kind of scary and stole the hype away from it. Jessica Vicious got that quick submission over Jessica Andrade. The left hook of Mike Malott against Charles Radkiva was fantastic. And then when it came to good fights, like very good fights, we have Daniel Santos versus Young Lee, as I said, and the main event, Jack Della versus Belal Muhammad. Great, fantastic fight. So it was okay. I had fun. We had fun on the Fight Companion watching this. So yeah, that's the event. Let's move into some fight announcements. Bobby Knuckles, Robert Whittaker is fighting Reiner the Reader again at UFC Abu Dhabi on July 26th. Don't know what to expect here, man. The Reader, like, I feel like these like super big guys, strong guys, are going to be kind of bad for Robert at this stage now that he's losing a bit of speed, a bit of power. He can still win this, like, and I'm not sure who I'm going to pick. I would have to watch some details, especially about Robert in the clinch in the lately. The Reader, if he comes with a very good game plan like he did against Bo Nickel, and he comes like active and kicking a lot, he could trouble Whittaker at range and then get into those clinch situations, get him to the floor maybe. Whittaker is still like tremendous takedown defense, very good cardio, but we'll see, man. This is going to be a main event too, which is like very exciting. Let's move on to next. What we have. Okay, we have Julius Walker. He's fighting Rafael Cerqueira. Excited, man. Walker, a Twitter boy, he showed the fucked up on his UFC debut against Alonso Manifield. Cerqueira has been action so far, so this one is probably going to be a banger. Jack Hermanson is fighting Hobocop and Gregory Rodriguez. Very interesting, this one, because like Hermanson is not a huge hitter, and that's like usually the kryptonite for Rodriguez. Rodriguez is very strong in the clinch too, which is where Hermanson usually get the takedowns. So I feel like Gregory might be a bad matchup for Jack, but Jack, he's a dog. He can make it ugly. And Rodriguez is a dog, but he doesn't have the durability of a dog. So, very interesting fight. What else do we have? We have Adam Fugit against Islam Dulatov. Dulatov looked fantastic. I mean, not like the best fighter ever, but he looked very aggressive and dynamic in his Contender Series fight. And there's a lot of hype going behind him because he's a male model. So yeah, and the UFC is trying to hype him because like Fugit, like he's decent, but he's on the lower end of the welterweight division. So what else we have? Oh, this one is very interesting. We have Asul Amabayev fighting Ramazan Temirov. So Amabayev was like shooting up in the division, but he got like that loss against Manuel Cap. And Temirov, on the other hand, like Charles Johnson took the chance taking that fight despite his huge winning streak, and took the fight against Temirov, who looked very good and won that fight. So now they're like, if Temirov beats Amabayev here, he steals his place in the division, and I feel like that's what the UFC wants to do. This is going on at UFC Abu Dhabi on July 26th. What else we have over here? We have Ricky Simon against Shar Jordan. Simon coming finally off that like huge knockout win. And Jordan looked fantastic in his fight against Victor Henry in his bantamweight debut. So, excuse me here. So yeah, I mean, excited about this one. We'll see. Charles Jordan pretty big at 135. Let's see if Ricky can like make the wrestling happen, or at the very least use the wrestling threat to get some connections on the feet. Like Ricky packs big power. Jordan has like tremendous chin, but maybe not as good at 135. So it should be a cool action fight. Oh man, Cody Garbrandt is fighting Raoni Barcelos. So Cody's coming off. What was like Cody's last fight? I don't remember, man. Let me look for it. Cody hasn't seen action since the Vertigo episode against Figueiredo in UFC 300. So he was supposed to fight Miles Jones twice, and he didn't make it to the fight. And Raoni is obviously coming off that huge win against Peyton Talbot. Very interesting here. We'll see. Maybe Raoni will try to wrestle here as well. But other than Vertigo, like wrestling Cody Garbrandt hasn't been like the move Uh, Barcelos is like the more complex boxer here, but Garbrandt obviously with the cleaner mechanics, a lot cleaner, and the power, man, the speed and the power. So Haoni needs to be careful in this one. It's a very good fight actually for guys that are like obviously past their primes, but still like pretty decent, I would say, both of them. So I'm excited about this one. What else we have? Andre Lima, my boy, Mascochi, man. He's fighting Felipe Bunes. Excited about this one, man. Just excited about the rise. And I'm not saying that he's going to win 100% this one. This one is actually an interesting test because it's against like a grappler. So we'll see how Mascoche like navigates this one. If he tries to like sprawl and brawl, he will try to take like top position of his own. If he is going to be like cautious on the feet, or he is going to take advantage of the striking differential to be very aggressive, we'll see about that. What else we have? Marvin Vettori is fighting Brendan Allen on UFC 318. Allen should watch. Vettori has not looked very good lately, man. He looked terrible against Dolice. And Allen looked pretty good against Fluffy. He was very close to winning that fight. So Vettori kind of a bad matchup for Allen because he has very good takedown defense and he's solid fundamental on the feet. But at the same time, like Allen is very used to fighting southpaws on the feet. He's more aggressive at this stage, more dynamic. Like Vettori, despite being so strong and athletic, he has never been a big hitter. He can find some shots, but he has like wonky punching mechanics. Allen should bring it to him, like just like striking the clinch, use his open stance tactics, and I think Allen should be fine here. Kelvin Cater is fighting Steve the Meme Machine Garcia in UFC Nashville. If Cater loses this one, it's so over, man. Like, not that the Steve Garcia is not a good fighter, but this should be like completely different level of guys. And now I'm not sure I can trust Cater. Garcia is not going to employ like a stick and move game plan like Salal did, so there's that going to look for. But Garcia packs big power, and we might see like Cater, who has had an iron shin so far. We might see him get cracked here, and maybe grapple from top position if he gets dropped. I'm kind of scared about that one. This one breaks my heart because like Mursakanov was trying to participate in the Who Knocks Out Johnny Walker in the most cartoonish way, but Johnny Walker pulled off smartly, and now Mursakanov is fighting Brenson Hivero, who has been looking pretty decent as lately too. So this one should be an action fight. I'm just sad that it's not Johnny Walker in there. Chaos Williams is fighting Uros Medic. Uros Medic should style here, but Chaos Williams, insanely athletic and strong. Uros Medic, a former lightweight. He's very long though. He's going to have like a height and reach advantage here, but we saw like Uros Medic is not impossible to knock out. We saw that against like Punahele Soriano. So he needs to navigate the waters here, but I think he should still win this one. And with that, we move to preview the next week event. We have Gilbert Burns against Michael Morales in what's probably going to be a sad main event in which like Morales just like keeps more active and beats our boy Durinho. Durinho hasn't been looking great as of late. In fact, his best performance was against current champion Jack Della. Not enough volume against Champ Brady. Against Belal is more understandable. Belal broke his arm very early in the fight with a body kick, so maybe the low output there could be justified in that way, but yeah, Morales still undefeated, 17-0. He looked bad in his fight against Neil Magny. Was getting like Magny clinched before finding like a spinning back fist or something in a transition, and then went with ground pound. Morales, what he has is a very good jab. I think that's going to be very annoying for Gilbert. Morales is like 2 inches taller. It's probably more. Like Gilbert is like a fake 5'10", and he's going to have a huge reach advantage. So yeah, this is probably not going to be super exciting unless Durinho tries to make something happen with the grappling or something. But yeah, not looking forward to this main event, to be honest. Our main or co-main is Pocre against Rodolfo Bellato. So Bellato coming off that draw against Jimmy Crute, that was a banger of a fight. And Paul Craig moving back to 205 after a stint at middleweight, where he beat Andre Muniz to get to the division, and then he started losing against everyone decent in Brendan Allen, Caio Borralho, and a very close fight against Bo Nickel that was determined by like a single exchange in the third round. Yeah, I think Bellato is going to take him. Like, Paul Craig hasn't like improved a lot as a wrestler. Bellato is like big and strong, and he's a dog, man. He's a dog. He's going to bring the pressure to Paul Craig. He's going to punish him, and he's going to win, I think. Sodiq Yusuff against Myron Santos is interesting because both guys moving up to 155 for this one. Yusuff, mixed results lately. His last two fights, a loss to Edson Barbosa in a main event that was very exciting. And then he got washed by Diego Lopez in the first round in his last fight. Myron Santos won the Ultimate Fighter. He was formerly a LFA fighter. He was fighting at 135 not long ago, so that's crazy that he's moving to 155. While Sodiq is a lot more understandable. Sodiq is huge. But yeah, I mean, Myron Santos after winning the Ultimate Fighter, he looked fantastic. Like he looked on that fight against Offley. He looked great. And then he had a very close fight against Francis Marshall, but that was fire, man. That was a good fight, and Marshall is a good fighter, so yeah, I mean, it's a very cool fight. Should be a banger. Rusiboyev, who I didn't realize that he was back at middleweight. He's fighting Dustin Stoltzfus. Stoltzfus, who's coming off a win against Marc-Andre Barriol, which was like a banger. And to be fair, like, his win against Punahele, and then that war against Bruno Ferreira, like, Stoltzfus is having like a moment at middleweight, like not looking to move into the rankings or anything, but so we'll see how Rusiboyev like manages this one. Julian Erosa is fighting Melky Salcosta. This is a fight between the guys that beat my boy D-Rod. I mean C-Rod. D-Rod is Daniel Rodriguez. But yeah, this one should be cool, man, because Costa is like, he's like longer. I mean, he fights longer than he is against Erosa, who is obviously insanely tall for 145. Erosa probably the better boxer by a good chance here, but the grappling could be very fun here. So yeah, Melky coming off that win against C-Rod. Erosa guillotined C-Rod and then like murdered a very old and washed version of Darren Elkins. Mateus Camilo is fighting Gabe Green. So Camilo apparently beat that guy that remember when a guy got into a press conference and said like, oh, no, what? It was like an event in Abu Dhabi or something. And guy was like, oh, give me a chance, Dana. I'm on the field, lightweight, and blah, blah, blah. And I don't know. So that guy, like, they arranged that guy to fight on Looking for a Fight. For those of you that don't know what Looking for a Fight is like stupid like reality show where Dana like travels around with, I think, Dean Thomas and another guy. It used to be Sarah. I don't know if it is Matt Serra anymore. But they travel around and they watch fights, and then it's like does like the Contender Series thing when he decides if he gives a contract to a guy or not. And apparently this guy, Mateus Camilo from Brazil, beat that other guy that was requesting the fight. So he's fighting Gabe Green. Gabe Green, who moves down to lightweight after losing to Ian Gary and Brian Battle, two huge guys. I mean, Ian Gary not super heavy, but very long. And Brian Battle straight up huge at 170. So Gabe Green, who is only like 5'10", maybe less, moving down to lightweight. Jared Gordon versus Thiago Moises are going to have like a very like well put together fight because these are guys that are like good MMA fighters. Conor Matthews, who is on a 2 KO losing streak, is fighting against Cuban Yadier Del Valle. Don't know about him. He comes from a competitive series, but I don't remember him. We'll see about that. Luana Santos, back at 135, I think. Yeah, her last few, I think all of her fights in the UFC were at 125. He's fighting Tainara Lisboa, who I don't remember. She has been in the UFC for a while. She's a bantamweight, and I don't remember her, so no comments on that. Denise Gomes versus Elise Reed should be fun, but should be an easy win for Denise, who has been looking very solid after like her loss against Angela Hill. He bounced back against Eduardo Moura and now Ankara Carolina. Elise Reed like looked okay her last fight against Jessica Penne. Hyun Park, winner of the Road to UFC. I was excited to see him a while ago. And he hasn't seen action in almost like a year and a half, man. He's fighting Carlos Hernandez, man, who is like, this one is action guaranteed, man. I don't think Carlos Hernandez is capable of having like not action packed fights. And Houston Park is very good too. And our opener is Luana Pinheiro, who's on a 3-fight losing streak. She's fighting Tisha Pennington, who is coming off that win against Carla Esparza. So yeah, that's the event. This one is poor, man. Nothing that I'm super excited about or that it's like super important. Like Houston Park versus Carlos Hernandez is cool. Jared Gordon versus Thiago Moises is fine. Rosa versus Melky, that one is good actually. That one is like has a decent ratio of like excitement and importance to the division. Sodiq Yusuf versus Myron Santos is going to be a decent fight. That's it, man. This one is rough. This one is one of the worst, I would say. Not a fan of this event. I don't like it. But as always, I'm going to be there for the fight companion, so you guys help me go through the fights. And that's the podcast, guys. I'll be back with... I'll try to make that video about the defense of Jack Della. Yeah, that's going to be on the Feño TFS channel. Look out for that. And I might do a live stream or something else during the week. And then I'll be back on Saturday with the fight companion. Thank you so much for listening, guys. I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.